Hey, welcome to Waterfed Wednesday, episode 40, part two. So last week we dove into the PWNA side. Now we're going to have our special guest, Joe Rochelo, and we'll be discussing, deep diving into the IWCA portion of it. But before we get started, Joe, we're just going to have a few announcements. If this is your first time joining us on Waterfed Wednesday. You can check up on all our previous episodes. You can find it easily on our YouTube channel, which is at Tucker_USA. So Waterfed Wednesday, this is where we go beyond the bucket and dive into the world of clean waterfed cleaning, where we answer your questions about our equipment, our business, and our goal of helping cleaners worldwide to get the job done faster, safer, and better. A few announcements again before we get started. We want to congratulate our winner of our January giveaway of the $3,000 in store credits, which was Keith Medlin. So congrats, Keith. Additionally, all month long, we have our Filter February sale, 15% off all filters. And if you follow our social media accounts and have signed up for our emails, stay tuned for a special announcement tomorrow. All right, Joe, thank you for being patient and accommodating to join us here. We know you have a very busy schedule coming up with the Elevate Convention in Orlando next week. So thank you for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So, Joe, you're the current president of the International Window Cleaning Association. Can you give us a little background to who you are? We know we have many listeners who have been with the IWCA, and we also have a lot of new people to the industry. So please give us a little background to who Joe is.
Okay. Well, I work for Jaffe Contracting Services in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're a high-rise window cleaning, pressure washing company. My exposure, I've been in the window cleaning business for 30 some odd years, since I was 18 years old. And I didn't really get exposure to the IWCA until about 15 years ago. And so when I came to this company, my boss said, okay, well, I'm sending you to the convention to get trained. You're going to be a high-rise specialist. And, I'm like, high-rise what? Because I had no idea there were certifications for that and all of the safety protocols. And it was, so it started out really just getting the education that I needed to do my job safely. And then, I became the person that had to teach safety and whatnot in my company. And then I think it was probably about 5 years ago, he and I were talking, and he was just like, you got to get more involved in the IWCA if you want. And I'm like, awesome, because that's what I'd love to do. And so I reached out to some people and said I wanted to be on the board. And they had me start on a committee first, and so I was on the education committee for a year, and then a spot opened up on the board, and that started my board service, and then did a couple years there, and then I got kind of bumped up a little bit into the officer role, and then so last year I was president, and this year I was president, so I did 2 years. We had a couple of things come up. Our vice president had resigned, and so it left a hole. So I got to fill it for another year. So it was good to be able to be a part of it in this specific role for a couple of years. So, and now in just less than a week, I passed the torch over to Scott Ehrenkrantz. So it's going to be an exciting week.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks for filling in how you got started with the IWCA. Can you tell us about the IWCA? Like, what is how does it appeal to, say, someone who is just new to the whole industry, or many people think it's just for large companies. Could you expand on that?
Sure. It's really not for large companies. I mean, IWCA was founded on safety, and it was founded by, a bunch of high-rise guys. But the IWCA is great for whether you're doing high-rise, you're doing low-rise, you're doing residential, and even if you're doing solar. The safety, our focus is that we teach safety, and whether it be, if you're a residential guy, we've got rooftop safety for homes, how to rig those kind of things up. So the bottom line and the base function of the IWCA is to, you know, teach you the things that get you to come home in the same condition you showed up at work in the morning. So as far as size of your company, we've gone back to membership pricing to where we were a few years ago, where it's a tiered membership. So it's based on your revenue of your company. So if you are a smaller company, then your membership dues are less than if you are a bigger company. So it gives that opportunity that people can actually join, and it's not so overwhelming. They think that they can't afford to be. Um, you should never not. You should never be put in a position where you can't afford safety. I really believe that everybody needs that knowledge. And so if you are a small company and you don't have a huge, income, I think I'm not sure off the top of my head what the rates are, but I think the lower tier is like $250 a year. So for what you get for that for the education platform, it's priceless.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so this year, it's different than the past years, where you have like this co-location strategy with, going in on it with PWA. So, what was the thinking, strategic thinking about getting the IWCA and the PWNA together for Elevate 2026 in Orlando?
Well, it's just started as a conversation between us and PWNA, and the realization that a lot of window cleaners are getting into pressure washing, and a lot of pressure washers are getting into window cleaning. And so it just seemed logical that where both trades are moving, let's do a location together and let's co-host it and see how that goes, and I think we'll have a really good turnout. The trade show floor has been sold out for weeks. We had to actually find some overflow for some people that had come in. So that's a really good problem to have. So there's going to be a lot of, for the window cleaners that are just getting into pressure washing, there's going to be, tons of areas on the trade show floor that they're going to be able to see. All right, this is what I'm getting into. This is better than my Home Depot pressure washer that I started my business with. I can move into this area. And those people that are doing pressure washing, will be able to come by and see Tucker and say, what's a water fed pole? I don't, how do you use that? And so it's a really good opportunity for both organizations to, um, help the people that do what both of us do.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to acknowledge some people that are signed on. We got our good friend Jamie, our Tucker sales rep. Uh, what's going on with you, Jamie? And our good friend in the industry, Ron Musgraves. Good afternoon to
Hi
you.
guys.
Yeah, talking about that. Definitely are seeing a lot of pressure washers who have been, adding on the window cleaning
Yeah,
aspect to it. And it's uh, one of the biggest things we're seeing in the past few years. And I know, especially with us being a water fed brand, everybody labels water fed as the easier thing, but there's definitely some safety aspects that many aren't familiar with, and we often have to
absolutely.
educate them on that. So to have both organizations there, I think it'll be very helpful for those who are looking to cross over each industry, for
Yeah.
sure. So, are there any particular like sessions or tracks you think that'd be most impactful for whether it's IWCA members or PWNA? They
I don't have the PWNA tracks in front of me. There's a lot of there's a huge variety of sessions that are going to be taught, whether it be from, teaching somebody new, even some of the older people, about insurance. That's one of the things. For window cleaning, we have a really long session that's about non-routine window cleaning, scraping glass and construction clean, restoration kind of thing, and how to do those, without having uh, mitigating circumstances when you're finished. There's a lot of, um, you know, courses as far as training your basic on how to clean windows. There's courses on how to grow your business. We have Brandon Vaughn, who is going to be a joint speaker for both of us. And he's great. If you you know he's speaking for both of us, so that's the only place you can go at that time. So I would make sure you try and get there, because he's a great speaker, great motivator. Um, as far as and we have certification classes going on. I know that I mean PWNA also has their certifications going on at the same time throughout the convention. So there's a few areas that we're overlapping, and we're actually sharing the event together. For example, our outdoor demos are going to be done at the same time outside. Our opening reception, um, that's going to be together. The Brandon Vaughn, I think we have another speaker that's combined. So we really tried to get as many things. We both have our own histories and our own things that we want to do, as far as window cleaning. So we need to teach focus towards the window cleaner, and they need to teach focus towards pressure
Right.
washer. But there are some areas that we were able to combine and get everybody together in one room. And, even if it's not just the class, but afterwards, you've got pressure washers and window cleaners that are mingling together and able to talk and say, well, hey, well, you know, it's so funny because you don't have to have this competitive atmosphere, because, hey, I'm from Oregon. Well, I'm from, you know, Kentucky. I can give you some trade secrets because I have no worries about you competing with me. So it's more of, when you go to convention, it's more of a brotherhood than, you can look at each other like, wow, this is great. This is somebody I can learn from, not have to go, I'm just here to buy stuff. I don't want to talk to anybody because I don't want them to take my secrets. So,
Right.
if we can help somebody out in the process of convention, then, it's a great thing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I want to get into the networking later, but definitely when we go to the conventions, and I think the last one we went to, it was the huge, but it was you, Gabe, and Luis. We all sat together and had dinner, and it was it's always interesting to hear what's going on in different parts of the country as far as what's happening with their businesses, because you can definitely feed off of that, and it's going to
Sure.
help you grow. So absolutely. Um, wanted to obviously, so yeah, we talked about the PWNA last week, so we'll focus on the IWCA only this time. So um, you talked about the hands-on training. Um, can you go into what are the things we might see there as far as the
Sure.
demonstration?
So typically with the IWCA is, there it's a 2 hour window, so it's from 4 to 6. I believe it is on Wednesday. Um, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but so from 4 to 6 in our area, usually it is a water fed type um, demo, because that's really where um, there's not too many new innovations and squeegees. It's all pretty much the same. They've streamlined that the best they can, but there's always seems to be something new when it comes to water fed. Whether it be, hey, this is a new tank system. Um, the and that's the funny thing about water fed too, is it's so different across the country, because like, we don't need RO here because our city water's at 50. So we don't have to do a ton to get pure water. Um, but everybody's got something, new, whether it be, a new pole. This pole is insulated this far up. This pole is, 5 stories, and it's lighter and more rigid than the other one before. So it's just a lot. It's a lot of, um, it's not so much a training on how to use them, which it kind of is, because they'll let you use the poles while you're out there, but it's more of a, this is what's new in the industry. We want to show you how it works. But they definitely want to get it in people's hands, and because we want you guys to be profitable, and we want you to sell your equipment. Um, so that's really what it is. We'll be out there for 2 hours. We got a specific area on the hotel. um, and people, companies will be able to just bring their stuff and showcase it, and then they'll be
Yeah.
able to see it when they go on the trade show floor the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're definitely looking forward to that. It's an opportunity that we get to get every year. See the everyone from the IWCA. It's a great event because no matter where it is, you get to see the same faces that really love to support the organization, and it's always great catching up with all the cleaners out there. So definitely looking forward to the trade show event for sure.
Yeah, it's
Um,
great.
s- Going back into the networking, considering that we have expanded the trade shows and cross industry networking opportunities, what advice would you have for, say, a first time attendee to make the most out of their connections when they're at Elevate 2026?
Uh, you know, to make the most out of their connections, I don't know. I mean, reach out. Don't forget about the connections you've made. I think that's the biggest thing, because what happens is, and I think this happens with everybody, is you get to the convention and it's all hype. Everybody's excited to be there. Everybody's excited to learn all these things, and then you make these connections, and then you get back home and life happens, and you're back
Mhm.
to work, and you're 6 months in going, God, I met Steve at convention and I haven't even called him yet. And so I would say make that your priority. That if you've met someone that sparked your interest, or somebody that you think you might be able to pick their brain on, reach out to them. Reach out to them and stay connected, because sometimes, just like what you were getting to, is this once a year is the only time that we see some of our friends. And so it is definitely a time that you can make these long time friends, and and getting home and starting to reach out to that contact that you made, that could build that friendship. And then you're able to help each other, because there's
Yeah.
you may not think everything, but there might be something that you do that is revolutionary to somebody else, and you'll never know until you start talking to them. you know um, as far as the trade show goes, to make that memorable, just hit every booth. Make sure you take the time to just walk through every booth, because there are so many different things there. um, PWNA has their, I've seen their trade shows, and some floors they're just a bunch of engines sitting on the floor. They're not pressure washers, but a bunch of Kohler or Honda engines, because that's what this specific person sells. So, you know, that might be your fit, your niche, that you just want to get a couple more engines, and you're going to build the rest of the machine yourself. Or you go through and you see, okay, well, I see Tucker's section, I want to see what their pulls are versus a triple crown pull, or a zero pull. They all have different things. So to make the most of that is to just take your time, and really uh, visit everywhere, and look for board members. All of our board members, our name tags will say board on them. Um, if you see us, come up and talk to us. And if you have questions, we can take you right to a specific booth that we know, by what you just told me, this could be the best fit for you. But yeah, definitely, if you see a board member, tackle them. Maybe not really tackle them, but grab us. We all like to talk, so it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, and go into that about the board members and IWCA in general, because you guys aren't paid to be there, right? So, could you go into that about the IWCA and the
Okay.
nonprofit side?
So the board consists of 11 members, and a past president. So the board term is for 3 years, and it is a voluntary position. We have an old past president that he has a phrase that, expect to use your time, talent, and treasury, because you use all of them on the board. We do monthly board calls. They're usually about an hour. But then outside of convention, at convention, we have two board meetings, And then outside of convention, we have 2 in-person meetings. So, there's a bit of travel that is involved that, we go to, we've gone to Seattle, we've gone to Orlando, we try and find some fun places, that we can actually see and visit one of our vendors or something like that. But what the board is responsible for, we expect a board member to be on at least one committee, and hopefully chair that committee. And then that way, when we have our board meetings, they're able to update the board on what is happening in each of those committees. So as far as convention, we have convention committee, we have safety and education committee, we have social media committee, we have glass committee, and a membership committee. So, when we come to our board meeting, the membership committee is able to come in and say, okay, this is where we're at with membership. This is what we're doing to build membership. And same with all of the other committees. So it is definitely a lot of work. It's very rewarding, because you get to see the organization grow, and you really get to see the nuts and bolts of the organization. And I'll tell you what, if anybody listening to this has a desire to be a part of the board, reach out to me, reach out to info@iwca.org. I've had the luxury of watching people grow, and I remember myself as a first year board member, you tend to be a little quiet in the corner. You don't really know what your role is, yet you've got all these experienced people around you, and they're just talking away and making, suggestions and all this other stuff. And you're like, I don't have an input. I'm just new to this thing. I don't know what I'm talking about. And everybody kind of has that. It's just, but watching these people grow and gain a voice and gain that confidence in who they are and leaders of this organization, it's just amazing. And it makes all that volunteer time worth it, because you're seeing and you're learning from all these people. I'm the president, and I learn from everybody on the board, because everybody has a different personality and a different way that they communicate. So the board, I know I'm all over the place, but it's really just the ins and outs of the organization. The safety and education committee, they're working on train the trainer. Well, they got train the trainer done, so we're working on the next step. So the evolutionary projects in the organization, that's what the committees do, and then it's driven by the board of directors. So there's a lot in it, but we also get a lot out of it. I would say.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say thank you all for the hard work you guys do all the time for the industry, and helping us be safer, and also educating us on how to run the businesses more effectively, because I think that's also another thing that people think of. Oh, it's safety training, it's OSHA 1910 whatever, but there's definitely a lot more involved. Yes, you're going to get educated on the best safety practices, but also, as you mentioned before, you're going to be educated on how to run your business effectively. So definitely,
Yeah.
if you're on the fence, encouraging about going, or if you're already in the Orlando area, and stop by, definitely encourage you to do so. Um,
Yeah, register now. The hotels are sold out. We do have a link on the bottom of our webpage that has a list of some other hotels in the area, but the
okay.
host hotel is currently sold out. So
Yeah.
if you haven't gotten your accommodations yet, it's really time to hunker down and get that.
Sure.
So,
Uh,
and one thing too, I wanted to say,
yeah.
um, it for years I've noticed things about the convention is like some years it's really residential heavy, some years it's really commercial and high rise heavy, and that goes with the education as well. So what we're doing this year is we're having a panel, and it is a residential and high rise panel. So we're going to have a stage with high rise guys, residential guys, and then what we're doing this year, to try and just make things flow, is that you can email if you have a question that you'd like asked. You can email that to info@iwca, and then we're going to have some like 3x5 cards at the door. So, if people write down their questions, then we're going to throw them in a hat, and then our moderator will just pull them out and read them and kind of assign them to, whether somebody's doing residential or doing high rise. And we just think we could get more questions in that way,
Yeah.
and help more people if we possibly can. But we're really excited about having that panel because it combines everybody that's there. Whether you're residential or high rise, you're going to have somebody to talk to at that. And then there can be a lot of marketing and networking after that too,
Yeah.
because people will stick around and just talk. So it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So you go to the classes and don't forget to network with everyone afterwards, because sometimes I think people, they hear the information and they don't apply it because they're not out talking with the people who actually are doing it. Because once you hear, hey, what I learned, it's actually helping this business grow X amount. So
Right.
definitely get your networking in. I did want to highlight our good friend Craig. He wanted to say thank you, Joe, for helping us get our museum on the show. So getting
Oh
shown.
my God, we are so happy you guys are going to be there.
Yeah.
I saw their museum at the Huge and about
Mhm.
flipped out. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, we got to figure out getting this at the big convention. So, thank you, Craig. Appreciate you being there. Yeah, we're excited. We're excited.
Yeah, definitely check out. It's great to see the history of window cleaning for sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
Talking about we're just actually, I was talking with Jen, who does helps with our marketing here. There is the women in the industry. So events like the women wine and dash or wine and wash are part of the social schedule. How important is the community building and exclusivity in the IWCA's mission, and what growth have you seen in these areas?
Because of the women's lunch,
Yeah.
um, honestly, we've seen quite a bit. I mean, it's different this year, because we that is a combined event. And so like PWNA, it was a like you said the name of it, wine and something else, and ours was just the women's lunch. So um, I can't speak for how PWNA, I mean, their event was, but we've noticed an increase in ours year after year because and that's part of the reason we do the women's luncheon, because we're a male dominated industry, and then seeing women in this industry and seeing women excel to the extent, Daisy, who's on our board, she owns a high-rise window cleaning company, and I know she still gets out there and does stuff, and it's amazing to see, and so it's a great time to recognize, the women in the industry, and they have a nice sit down lunch, and again, that's a networking thing for them, and it just seems to grow and grow and grow every year. So we're real thankful to have that, be able to have that combined and be part of the convention again this year.
Awesome. In fact, we got someone chiming in, Jessica Battle. She says, I'll be there for the women's luncheon. Very excited. First time at the convention.
Awesome. Well, welcome. Look forward to seeing you.
And Grace will be there as well. Look forward to it. All right. So just want to get into maybe the topic of maybe some industry trends here. So based on your leadership role and conversations you had at past conventions, what are you seeing that are the biggest trends, say that's in the tech, the business operations, regular regulations, training that are shaping the industry now?
Um, Drones are a big thing.
Mm,
The
yeah.
the drone. We ended up breaking down and buying one. Uh, they're awesome. I mean, they're great, and you can, um, they do a good job cleaning windows. They do a great job pressure washing. They, we bought it because there was a lot of uh, like mid-rise apartments that we do that, because of the way their fences were, we couldn't even get a lift into some of these areas. And so, but we can bring the drone in and we can
Mhm.
fly it. And so I see that as being the biggest trend. Um, the insulated poles, with Jason Knight's story, I think that has done a lot. to help our industry. Probably more than anybody's done in the past several years. Which it's horrible that um, it took what it took to get that change moving. But man, I love Jason. He's a great guy, and he has pushed um, so hard to make changes. So it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, absolutely. Definitely, yeah, you're right. We're definitely seeing a lot in the drone
Oop, I lost your
industry.
sound.
Oh, let me see. Check with our moderator here. Can you hear me? Okay. We are good. Joe, we might have lost you might have lost us.
I can't hear you at all.
Okay. I, let's type a message. Hey Jen, can you type him a message and just say try logging off and on again? Sorry about technical difficulties. So I while we'll get Joe straightened out, we were just going into talking about that. So definitely um uh, drones have become an increase in the industry. So check out any of the trainings going on with that. We'll want to mention about the safety aspect. Definitely go to the classes about waterfed training or talking about safety. Many are coming into the industry thinking it is the absolute safest way. And yes, there are many aspects that it's safer than, say, traditional, but also there are some things to watch out for. Um, Overhead power lines, your drop zones. So there's definitely going to be those issues to be on the lookout. All right, Joe, you're back. Can you hear us?
I'm sorry, Alex. I just can't hear you.
Okay. Um, Unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties again, where Joe has lost his audio. Um, we'll try it one more time, and if we can't, we might just have to end the show there. But once again, uh, we are excited for the convention next week. Uh, Try it again. Let's see. How about now, Joe? Doesn't look like we've lost him again. So, anyways, going back, so we have the IWCA, the PWNA joint efforts next week at the Elevate Convention. It will be in Orlando, taking place February 18th through the 20th. Um, I wanted to get the calendar pulled up here and highlight some of the events. Let's take a look. So once again, the opening session started at 8 o'clock. You'll have one of the talking about safety training class with Mike Draper. So definitely get that checked out. Going into Thursday, we want to check out. Obviously, this is when we'll have our um, trade show. So please come by and see Tucker. We'll be at booths 212, 214, and 216. Joe, can you hear us?
I can hear you now.
Woohoo! All
Yeah,
right.
I don't know what that was, but
There was some kind of weird glitch. I saw your screen went black for a second, and so while that all was happening, I was just trying to encourage everyone to check out the convention next week, 18th through the 20th. Just highlighting some of the things, and obviously the trade show. Um, but yeah, going back into it, we're talking about drones, a big thing. But I was mentioning definitely check out any classes related to waterfed because so many. You mentioned
absolutely.
Mr. Knight's story. Obviously, if you haven't heard, he was cleaning windows, and he wasn't an issue where it touched the power line, but it was arced. Was that correct?
It arced. Yeah,
So we,
it arced, and in the UK, that they're allowed to have much stronger power lines in a residential area than we do, and so the voltage that went through him was considerably more than uh, what you would think would be there, and he was injured quite severely.
yeah. Um, great, great point. So any training on that, just was encouraging, especially those who are pressure washing and are going to be checking out some of the IWCA training. Get into that because, as mentioned before, many think it's a safer way of cleaning. In many aspects, waterfed is, but there are the dangers that you have to be on the lookout for sure. Uh,
Absolutely,
your
absolutely.
drop zones, overhead power lines, just a lot of things to look out for sure. Um, so looking forward, so with this joint venture, is this something you have planned for the future? Is this kind of a trial run? What can you tell us, if anything?
Yeah, yeah, I think we'd all like for it to be, something that we continue doing because this is where everybody's going. Um, we don't really know how everything is going to turn out. So, it's not what's the word I want to. It's the guinea pig of joint conventions is what it is. So, we're looking forward to it. We're hoping everything works out great. Um, but yeah, it's hopefully it's a start to several more.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to highlight this question. Craig asked, does a window cleaner need to own a business to become a member? Now, you mentioned that you were not, right? At the beginning?
You do not need to own. I my the owner of my company obviously owns his company, and then I'm an add-on member, but anybody can join IWCA. You don't have to own your own company to be a part.
Okay, awesome. Great.
The more the
All right,
merrier.
there we go. All right. So obviously we talked about we're at time crunch here. So what would you say to someone who is debating on attending next week, um, especially if they've never been to a large convention like this before?
I would say take the risk, bite the bullet, and come. There's, it's 3 days packed full of um, so much education, so much safety. You will walk away with something that helps your business, within that time frame. So I would encourage if you're on the fence, jump to the side that says convention, and you will not regret coming.
Yeah, absolutely. One last question here, and um, we have Jessica. It says, "What would be the benefits if you're not a business owner?" Jessica, for your case, I'm not sure what your involvement is in the industry, but uh, could you touch on that, Joe? If you're not the business owner, what
Um,
the
yes, absolutely. If if you are just an employee or you're not a business owner, you know, there's we have two separate tracks. We have a management track and we have a technician track. So there's a lot of tips and tricks that are going to be taught. And like you had mentioned earlier, there's lots of water fed classes. There's a lot of safety classes. So even if you don't own your company, there's plenty to take away from the convention as far as education and safety is concerned.
Okay, awesome. Well, we're definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be nice to get out of, although weather here in Colorado has been a little all over the place, but it'll be nice
Yeah.
to go over to Orlando this time of the year and get to see everyone again in the industry. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you again, Joe, and the rest of the IWCA crew. Wanted to just thank you again for taking the time joining us this week, and I would definitely encourage all of those who are listening, look into going to the IWCA convention, or look into IWCA in general. Maybe you can't make it to the convention, but definitely encourage to take a look at the organization.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. So,
Well,
so
thanks
thanks
for
again.
having me.
Absolutely. And we definitely look forward to talking with everyone else on the next episode. So stay tuned. Take care.
Thank you.